Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing super fantastic. And the word Maya is thrown around a lot. I mean, I use the word a lot, okay? I'm just as guilty as anybody of using the word Maya. But it's almost perfect, really. It is an ancient Vedic word that is referring to this physical illusion, right? And the fun fact, I guess, is the it's said that the that Maya is the root word for matrix. So there's that. But the illusion of this physical realm and the goal is to wake up from this and begin seeing this reality as illusory, to begin to see it as an illusion, so that we awaken to this fact. We awaken to the fact that we are more than just this. We are more than just physicality. And that in fact, we are not even really here in this. Is that your true self, using the video game analogy, your true self is on the outside and is then jacked into this character, this avatar, right? Through the third eye, the pineal gland in the brain, which the brain would then be your processor that processes information back and forth. And also, I got to believe that the veil between the two is somewhere in there as well. But when we when we begin to look at it that way, when we begin to look at it as I am an I am a spirit on the outside, and for whatever reason, I believe there's many reasons that collectively, the human collective, have many reasons why we came into this realm, into this construct. But then we also have individual reasons. But somewhere along the way, we lost our way. Somewhere along the way, we forgot our true nature. We forgot who we truly are. We forgot the fact that we are really our higher self on the outside. I also believe, as I've said many times, that this construct has been hijacked by, as the Gnostics call them, by the archons, or you can just say it's a virus in the system. It's any way you want to look at it. But it has been hijacked, and now people have been convinced that they are now trapped here. And I'm not a big soul trap guy. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think it is the case if you believe it is. If you believe you're trapped, well, then you're definitely trapped. And that goes along with a lot of other experiences that people have had. Meaning, whatever it is your belief is what you're going to experience. What I mean by that is, I had an out of body experience, I believe, at one time in my life, and it was very profound. And the craziest part about it was what I experienced was nothing what I would have expected to experience. What I mean by that is, when a Christian has an out of body experience, a lot of times they'll come back and they'll say that they saw Jesus or the pearly gates or whatever the case may be. The things that they've been programmed to believe are going to happen when they are absent from the body. But also, there have been instances of people in other religions coming back and saying that whatever it is that they expected to see is what they saw. They may have seen Muhammad if they practice Islam. They may have seen, you name it. I mean, depending upon what religious philosophy they buy into is what they come back and report that they saw. So they come back emboldened, thinking, my religion is correct. It's the right one. But it's like, yeah, but the other guy said the same thing about his. His experience was just as profound as yours, and but it went along with the programming, with the belief system that he had had in his life up to that point. However, with my experience that I had, I woke up in what is called the black, meaning it was just black. I didn't have a form though. So it's like, it's like I could say that, well, it was so dark I couldn't see my hand in front of my face, except I didn't have a hand. It's just when we refer to the field, it's just everything just is. It's just one space. Everything is right here. That's it. And depending upon the vibratory frequency, that's what you will experience. But anyway, but what I experienced was nothing like what I had been, what I had expected to. Of course, at that time in my life, I wasn't practicing any kind of faith or any kind of belief system, but I had previously been, been a Christian and was and been told, I suppose, what to expect at that moment. But what I experienced was very profound. It was very spiritual. I understood the quantum field. I understood where God exists. It all made sense. I was outside of what we consider to be creation. And that experience instilled in me what is known as gnosis. Gnosis is a knowing, right? It's like when we study faith, when we begin delving into belief systems and we learn more about it, and we begin to have faith in that the words we're reading or we're hearing are true. That's what we come to believe. And we have faith in it, and we grow in faith and things like that. But faith is, it's as they say, it's you're putting your trust in something without any real proof. And I think that that's beautiful. I mean, I'm not poo-pooing faith. I'm not. I think it's a beautiful thing. However, when you have an experience that is, I mean, at least to me, it was undeniable. I know, and I realize there's some skeptics who could say, well, you were just in your brain. I mean, I don't know. I've heard people say different things, and that's fine. They're fine. I mean, I can't prove that what I saw was real, but it was it was very real to me. That's what I do know. I was part of the flow, right? The best example I've given is if you take a single drop of water, just one drop, and you were to throw it in the ocean or in a river, and that drop spreads out and it becomes part of that river, right? It becomes part of the flow of the rest of the water. Every molecule that made up that drop still exists. That drop still exists, but it has now become part of the flow of everything else, of every other drop of water that's ever existed. And that's what it felt like. And it was beautiful. And it was not scary. It was beautiful. And I have even mentioned how I go into a meditative state and try to project myself back into that. That's a state that I long for, and I strive to get back into that state. Obviously, not with having a traumatic experience like what induced it the first time around, but nonetheless, dear loved one. Right. Hey, by the way, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please go ahead and do that. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do that as well. So that instilled in me a gnosis. It's a knowing. I know that God exists, but I also know that it's nothing like what I had been taught. It's nothing like what I had been programmed to believe. It's actually more beautiful. It's actually bigger and better than all of that. And so, I came out of that knowing that mind exists, and searching, and I began, it put me on a quest of searching for what is this, right? And I have mentioned what I believe this is that this is a construct that was built for us to then be immersed in so we can learn and grow at a time dilated rate. I believe we've come into here, right, as I've said many times, very, very willingly and very enthusiastically. But I also believe that along the way of these lifetimes, we have we've forgotten why we came. There is that veil between our higher self, the true you, the true version of you on the outside, who would be like the player outside of the game, who is then jacked into the avatar on the screen if it were looking at it as a video game analogy. But the jacked into this through the pineal gland or the third eye, your antenna to the outside, right? And then there's the brain, which is a magnificent processor, but it's really just a processor. It only really knows programming, learned behavior. But being jacked into this, and then use of the central nervous system and the five senses, right? So that you can interact and you can learn and grow and do things here. But I do believe that we have lost our way at some point. We, meaning the human collective. I often refer to the archons which is taken from the Gnostic text. You can say that they were a virus injected into the system. You can say there are a lot of things, but they have their own agenda. But we have been distracted from our mission here. What is our mission here? I believe it's to grow, to gain knowledge, gain wisdom, insight, to gain some kind of enlightenment, for discovery, to learn about self, to grow from just a single, just from a single, very, what's the word I'm looking for? A single and very basic entity, or a very basic form of consciousness, to something that blooms and grows into something bigger at a time dilated rate, meaning in these lifetimes in here could, from on the outside, could just be a day. But so if you lived 80 or 100 years in here and gain all that insight and take that back out with you, because really the only thing you're going to take with you will be the knowledge that you gain from here. And that would be a very good reason to sign up for an assignment such as this. As I've said before, it has been said, Dolores Cannon has mentioned, where some people say that there are souls in the universe who are just chomping at the bit, willing to beg, borrow, and steal for a chance to get into this Earth sim, to get a chance to have a lifetime or a series of lifetimes or whatever in this realm. I mean, there's no way to truly know that. And really, it doesn't mean a whole lot to us, but it is at least fun to think about. It's a nice thought, if nothing else. But yes, the Maya is getting back to the beginning here. The Maya, the illusion of physicality, and waking to that. Waking to the fact that this is an experience that I'm here to gain something from. What did I come here to do? I think that's what we need to focus on, is to focus. I believe there are some things that we collectively came to learn, but there's also things that we came here individually to learn as well. Things we came here to accomplish, things like that. And the only way to really do that is to, for one, begin awakening. And I don't know if that's something that can necessarily be induced, but to begin the awakening and then get into meditation and connect with your higher self. Seek that guidance. What is it that I've come here to do? What am I here for? You will find the answers. I believe that a big part of mine is to discover the nature of reality. And I've even heard it said before that's the whole purpose of this. Anyway, on the outside, we have found that we have found ourselves in some sort of sim. So we created this so that we can find a way or find the answers to that. Again, that's something fun to think about. Actually, that's something that I do want to get into more at a later time, but I'm going to have to get into some more stuff. But what I have gotten into lately I've been researching as best I can. I mean, there's not a whole lot out there about the Kordylewski clouds. And if you're not familiar with those, they are the plasma clouds that were discovered in 1961 and actually weren't even verified to be there until like 2017, maybe 2018. But they are plasma clouds that are suspended between here and the moon, and they are each 9 times the size of the Earth. And they are plasma clouds. They are said that they could possibly be sentient, possibly be intelligent. Pretty fascinating. Anyway, dear loved ones, I'm going to go ahead and shut this off here. But if you If you haven't yet hit the like button, please do so. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. That's all I got for you for now. I love you. I really do. And I will be back directly.